GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good night, Montreal.
Earlier tonight, a Montreal area school board mistakenly distributed a mass email that listed personal details of parents with children at Rossmere High School in Rossmere, Quebec. The message, intended for internal use, contained names, telephone numbers, and home addresses and was subsequently posted online. Board officials confirmed the error, stating the email was sent to the entire parent list instead of a targeted group. The dispatch occurred at approximately 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, just before the school's evening dismissal. The incident has sparked immediate inquiries into the board's data handling protocols, and the Provincial Education Ministry has been notified. Parents whose information was exposed have been advised to monitor for any suspicious activity and to contact the board for further assistance. The board has pledged to review its communication procedures and to implement stronger safeguards to prevent a recurrence.
Last week, panic erupted at Millevoie Secondary School in Montreal North when two teenagers, one 14 and the other 15, entered the parking lot just before lunch and discharged a toy machine gun towards students and staff. The rapid firing caused screams and a swift evacuation of the building. Witnesses said the youths fled on foot before police arrived. No one was physically injured, but the incident sparked a lockdown that lasted several minutes while officers secured the perimeter. School officials confirmed the weapon was a replica and that the two suspects are now being sought by the Sûreté du Québec. The investigation focuses on how the adolescents obtained the toy firearm and whether any disciplinary action will follow. Parents have been notified, and the school plans to review safety protocols.
Severe thunderstorms rolled through the north side of the city Thursday night, unleashing heavy rain and gusty winds that snapped dozens of trees across multiple neighborhoods. The storm left power lines downed and roadways blocked by fallen trunks and branches, prompting municipal crews to begin a coordinated cleanup on Friday morning. Residents in the Villeray and Ahuntsic-Cartierville districts reported damaged sidewalks and obstructed driveways, while emergency services cleared several intersections to restore traffic flow. The city's Public Works Department deployed extra trucks and crews to the affected streets, prioritizing main arteries and school zones. Officials warned that lingering debris could pose hazards for pedestrians and motorists until removal is completed later this week. Power outages were reported in several blocks, but crews restored service by late afternoon. The storm was part of a larger weather system that moved eastward across the province, bringing similar damage to communities beyond the city.
Today, a provincial judge issued an interim order halting the city of Montreal's move to strip American iron and metal of its operating permits at the metal recycling plant in Montreal EST. The court's decision pauses the revocation while the parties argue over compliance and environmental standards. City officials said the permits were being withdrawn because of alleged violations at the facility, while AIM maintains the site meets all regulatory requirements and can continue processing scrap metal. The injunction keeps the plant running for now, preventing an immediate shutdown that could affect workers and local waste management contracts. The order also obliges municipal inspectors to keep the facility accessible for emergency recycling operations until a comprehensive review is completed. Both sides have indicated they will present further evidence in upcoming hearings, and the legal battle remains active as the municipality seeks a final resolution.
Today, Quebec and the federal government announced a joint funding agreement aimed at halting the steady decline of the province's caribou herds. The pact allocates new resources to support habitat restoration, predator management, and monitoring programs across the affected regions. Officials say the money will complement existing provincial initiatives and help meet recovery targets set by wildlife agencies. While the announcement was welcomed by several conservation groups, a notable faction of environmental organizations voiced reservations, arguing that funding levels remain insufficient and that broader land use policies must also change. The split among advocates underscores the complexity of balancing economic interests with biodiversity goals. Both governments emphasize that the agreement represents a concrete step towards stabilizing caribou populations that have dwindled for years. The deal marks the first multi-year financial commitment between the two levels of government for this species, signaling a longer-term partnership.
Later, we'll check how Hydro-Quebec restores power to thousands after the storm outages, and what that means for your neighborhood. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us. Let's dive into today's headlines. Then Rachel Reed will bring you the local stories you need.
3 Atlantic and Western provinces have stepped in to bolster Quebec's fight against the forest fires that have blazed across the province this summer. New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and British Columbia are dispatching crews, equipment, and aerial support to the Provincial Wildfire Prevention and Suppression Agency. The assistance arrives as the blaze threatens homes, roads, and recreational areas, prompting concerns for families who rely on forested corridors for commuting, hiking, and tourism. Officials say the added resources will help contain hotspots and protect communities on the front lines. Provincial leaders emphasize that the coordinated response reflects a broader national effort to keep the flames from spreading into populated valleys and to preserve the air quality that residents breathe daily. The operation remains underway, with teams rotating through the affected zones.
Storms swept the area today, leaving roughly 20,000 households in the dark. Hydro-Quebec crews have been working through the night to bring electricity back, restoring service gradually as crews clear damaged lines and repair equipment. Residents who lost power this morning can expect lights to return over the next several hours, though some neighborhoods may still be waiting. The utility says crews are focusing on the most heavily affected sectors first and will continue rotating teams until all outages are cleared. Officials note that the severe thunderstorms caused widespread failures across the grid, prompting an unprecedented response. Many families are waiting to use their refrigerators and heat their homes as temperatures climb. Local schools have delayed evening activities until power is stable. As power comes back, customers are advised to check their meters and report any lingering issues. The restoration effort remains underway throughout the city.
More than 2,000 Quebec households found themselves without a lease or a roof after the province's July 1st moving day. The annual shift in tenancy, which typically triggers a flurry of relocations, left a significant gap in available housing this year. Advocates for affordable housing point to the figure as evidence that the recent construction of new apartments has not kept pace with demand, and that the underlying affordability crisis remains unaddressed. Families and individuals who were forced to vacate their previous homes reported scrambling for emergency shelters or temporary accommodations. Municipal services recorded a spike in calls for assistance during the week following the moving day. Officials have not announced immediate relief measures, but the situation underscores the pressure on Quebec's rental market as the summer progresses. The count includes families with children and seniors alike, highlighting the breadth of the challenge.
Severe thunderstorms ripped through southern Quebec today, toppling trees and snapping power lines. Hydro-Quebec reports that more than 35,000 customers are still without electricity as crews work around the clock to restore service. The storm's damaging winds knocked out service across a wide swath of the region, leaving families and businesses in the dark. Officials say the outage remains ongoing, with restoration efforts focused on the hardest-hit neighborhoods first. Residents are being advised to conserve any remaining battery power and to avoid unnecessary travel while crews clear debris and repair infrastructure. The utility has opened hotlines for updates, and emergency shelters have been set up for those without heat or refrigeration. As the weather clears, engineers will continue to assess damage and prioritize repairs throughout the evening. Power restoration is expected to take several days, especially in the most severely impacted zones.
Violent thunderstorms swept through southern and central Quebec on Thursday, ripping roofs from homes, snapping trees, and even bringing down a horse stable. Meteorologists recorded wind gusts strong enough to lift sections of siding and shatter windows, leaving dozens of families with exposed ceilings and debris-filled driveways. Emergency crews responded to multiple calls, clearing fallen branches from roadways and securing damaged structures before nightfall. The collapsed stable, located near a rural community, caused injuries to several workers who were rescued and taken to nearby hospitals for observation. Power outages were reported across several municipalities, prompting utility companies to dispatch repair teams around the clock. Officials warned that the intensity of the storm was linked to an unstable atmospheric front, and they urged residents to check their roofs and clear yard debris as repairs begin.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see how tonight's weather will shape your evening.
A building ridge of high pressure and a dry southerly surge are keeping Montreal blisteringly hot tonight. The all-time high for this date sits at 32.6 degrees, recorded in 2018 during a historic heat dome that pushed the province into triple-digit Fahrenheit territory. The record low is 12.7 degrees, set in 2015 when an Arctic blast slipped south behind a lingering cold front. Normal July, highs hover around 29 degrees with lows near 19. So today's 24-degree reading feels modest compared with the record high, yet far above the climatological average. The live radar screen is completely blank across southern Quebec. No echoes are visible from the St. Lawrence corridor to the Laurentians, confirming the dry, subsident air mass that a building high-pressure ridge has forced aloft. With the jet stream parked well north, there is no forcing to lift moisture. Expect the clear pattern to persist through the night, and the city will stay precipitation-free until sunrise. At 11 p.m. Montreal sits under a steady ridge of high pressure that is slowly climbing. The sky is mainly clear, temperature 24 degrees, humidity 68% and a light west wind at 10 kilometers per hour, gusting to 29. The ridge suppresses lift, so clouds are thin and rain is impossible. The day ahead will stay hot. Highs will reach 32 degrees while lows dip to 21. The ultraviolet index is 7. Winds will rise to 29 kilometers per hour from the west in the afternoon, feeling brisk across the Lake Breeze corridor. A heat warning covers the Montreal Island area and surrounding municipalities, so stay hydrated and watch for heat stress. No other alerts are in force. That brings us to the 5-day outlook. Saturday will be overcast with a high of 27 degrees and a low of 16, the clouds lingering through the morning before breaking late. Sunday remains overcast, warming to 29 degrees at peak, while the low stays 16, giving a damp feel after the night's chill. Monday continues the cloud cover, reaching 28 degrees and dropping to 19 overnight, so any sunshine will be brief. Tuesday offers the first clear sky of the stretch, with a high of 29 degrees and a low of 19, ideal for a dry evening. Wednesday returns to overcast conditions, pushing the high to 30 degrees and the low to 20, marking the warmest day of the period. The pattern stays driven by the same high-pressure ridge, limiting any rain chances. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic updates, what's on today, plus our chamber spotlight and the season's top sports stories. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
A quieter sports board today, with no fresh local team update from RSS. Jacob Dobies has a new contract, but money is not what motivates him. The Montreal Canadiens goaltender says his focus remains squarely on proving himself in net and helping his team win, coming off what Sportsnet describes as a strong playoff run. A chapter has closed in Montreal. The Canadiens have traded forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. According to CBC Sports, the deal is done, ending Gallagher's run with the only NHL franchise he ever called home. Before his trade to Vancouver was announced, Brendan Gallagher received a remarkable honor. The city of Montreal named him an honorary citizen with a ceremony held at City Hall. A fitting tribute to a player who gave everything to this city, according to CBC Sports.
On a crisp Saturday morning on St. Laurent Boulevard, a line of bright orange trucks rolled in, their drivers greeting neighbors as they set up folding tables and recycling bins. Residents who spent the night sorting sofas, boxes and garden tools gathered beside the curb, their children clutching reusable bags, ready to turn what could have been a mess into a community project. City crews from the borough of Le Plateau, led by sanitation supervisor Marie-Claude Dubois, coordinated a 2-hour sweep, pausing only to share a laugh with an elderly couple who offered fresh croissants from their bakery. In one corner, a teenage volunteer named Karim carefully loaded a rescued vintage bicycle onto a donation truck, his grin reflecting the pride of a neighborhood that refuses to let trash define its streets. By mid-afternoon, the pavement was clear, the scent of spring air replacing the smell of discarded cardboard, and the people lingered, chatting about upcoming block parties. Montreal reminds us that when we come together, even a mountain of moving day debris becomes a shared triumph. The city's spirit shines brighter when we all pitch in.
At the edge of Parc Pi Roman 12, just beyond the maple-lined path that leads to the historic St. Leonard Church, a team of local geologists and volunteers has opened the first public tour of a hidden underground world. The cavern, first mapped in the early 20th century, revealed an unexpected side chamber in 2017 when a group of high school students noticed a faint draft behind a limestone outcrop. Within months, the city's Heritage Department partnered with the university's Earth Science faculty to clear a safe passage, install lighting and train guides who can read the subtle changes in humidity that signal a shift in the cave's microclimate. Visitors now descend a stairwell, the air growing cooler and the sound of distant dripping echoing like a drumbeat. The highlight comes 3 minutes in, when the tunnel opens onto a vaulted chamber where stalactites hang like ancient chandeliers, and a small pool reflects the soft amber glow, reminding us that even in a bustling metropolis, wonder still waits beneath our feet. It's a reminder that discovery can turn a simple walk in the park into a shared moment of awe.
Thanks, Montreal, for joining us on The Wrap. Tonight's look at the storm-torn trees across the north reminded us how quickly nature can reshape our streets. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll be back tomorrow with more of the stories that matter to you here in Montreal.